right. How is everyone? Good afternoon. I could say GM to some of you, depending on when you woke up today. For those of you that are in the room next door, we're going to continue with our learning. We took a quick little short break. I feel like this next speaker does not need an intro. And with leading the way, I do believe that he is doing that. How about a warm round of applause for Eno?
My goodness. GM, assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for, it's good to be here in Dubai. Hi, my name is Eno. I'm a co-founder at International Stable Currency, otherwise known as ISC. Also, I'm a professional stablecoin maxi shit poster, so you can find me and my terrible tweets at Eno on Twitter or X, whatever Elon's calling it. And before we begin, I want to give a very special shout out to the Solana Foundation events team, as well as Super Team UAE. I was actually living in Dubai last month for Founders Villa, and it was easily the best gathering I've ever been to. So I highly recommend that you apply for the next Founders Villa. All right, without further ado, my current mission in life is to make Solana the #1 chain for stablecoins. But what does that even mean, right? Number one in what way? Well, the objective of today's talk is to start a dialogue about what we need to see over the next few years. And also, hopefully, I can meet some like-minded people who want to join the Solana stablecoin cabal. So to that end, this talk is divided into two parts. First, we're going to get you up to speed with where we are with stablecoins today. And then I'm going to hit you with some quick ideas about how we win. So first, let's start with the basics. What's a stablecoin? I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant. This is something that's a bit of a pet peeve of mine. Stablecoins are not just US dollars, right? There's a lot of people around there who seem to believe this, and I understand. It's because US dollar stablecoins are the most popular type of stablecoins. But really, if you think about stablecoins from first principles, a stablecoin is supposed to achieve two things. Number one, it's supposed to be a stable store of value. So what that means is that the token shouldn't fluctuate in value too much. It shouldn't be volatile. And number two, what a stablecoin is supposed to achieve is it's supposed to protect your purchasing power, meaning that you should be able to buy more or less the same goods and services over time. So the better mental model to think of stablecoins as a superset and fiat stables and flat coins as the subset. So fiat stables are exactly what you think they should be. They're tokens that are pegged to fiat currency. So this includes the US dollar, the euro, the yen, and even the Icelandic krona. It seems like we have a new fiat stable that's launching every day. Flat coins, on the other hand, are new. They're yield-bearing. And the whole point of a flat coin is they're not pegged to fiat currency. The price actually increases very slowly over time at a rate that either matches inflation or it beats inflation. So eventually what you end up with is a stablecoin that's inflation resistant. So a little bit of a shameless plug here. What we do at International Stable Currency is we launched the first flat coin on Solana. It is 100% collateralized with RWAs, so gold, cash, bonds, T-bills, etc. And since we launched last year in Vietnam, the token price has increased 10%. Where did all that yield come from? Well, the yield came from gold and stocks, which have performed particularly well this year. Okay. And if you've been paying attention, some of you might have noticed that I put JLP on the list of flat coins. And if you know what JLP is, it's a liquidity provision token for Solana, for Jupyter's perpetuals. And you might be like, what the heck, like that is not a stable coin. Well, if you think about it, JLP is a crypto index. 50% of it is WBTC, ETH, and Solana, and the other 50% is stablecoins, USDT and USDC. And in addition to that, I think it's 75% of the fees from the perpetuals are returned from the perpetuals platform into JLP. So really what you get is a token that's surprisingly stable in value and also protects your purchasing power. So in a way, there is an argument to be made that JLP is a type of flat coin. And I'm not the first person to appreciate the differences between fiat stables and flat coins. Balaji is actually the first person to explore this topic. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about where we are with stablecoins today. Is there a brave soul here who can guess or knows what the stablecoin market cap was 5 years ago? Anybody? You, sir? Do you know? Anybody? All right, what do we think? What it was? 0? Close to it, 3 billion, 3 billion. And today we are sitting at an all-time high of $155 billion issued for stablecoins. And of course, the titans in the room are Tether's USDT and Circle's USDC. They collectively have $135 billion worth of stablecoins issued, which is about 93% market share. And I just want to say for the record that I do not think that this is a good thing. I think it's a huge risk for the ecosystem to have so much liquidity into 2 stablecoin providers. I'm not fudding Tether or Circle specifically. I just think that 93% market share is ridiculous. To give you a sense of how ridiculous I think 93% market share is, not even Coke and Pepsi have 70% market share in America, and they own 500 different soda brands, right? But in a sense, I understand how we ended up in this situation. Stablecoins are very sticky. Once a user develops trust with a stablecoin issuer, there's very little incentive for them to switch. And especially after the UST crash, it seems like there is a higher standard of trust that's required for stablecoins. And I think that's a good thing. Even your biggest degen is going to be quite conservative when it comes to his choice of stablecoins. So here's just a few more fun facts. There's over 20 million stablecoin users worldwide. We're on track to do $6.8 trillion worth of stablecoin settlement this year. And the total market cap for stablecoins is 6% of all crypto. And there are some analysts who even believe that we're going to get to 2.8 trillion by 2028, which would be amazing. All right, so let's talk a little bit deeper. Let's get granular. Let's talk about Solana stables. So this is stablecoin distribution by chain, and it should come to no surprise to anybody that Ethereum has over 50% of all stablecoins issued. That's why there are so many chains that are trying to siphon off liquidity. What does tend to surprise people is that Tron has over $50 billion worth of stablecoins issued. And almost 100% of that is USDT. And I would argue that Tron, out of any chain in the ecosystem, has done the best job onboarding users from emerging markets in partnership with Tether. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. And to kind of support what I'm talking about here with Tron, this is data that I got from Sid Shakar, who's the head of blockchain research over at Coinbase. You'll see, based on transaction size, that Tron has a much more even distribution, right? So you see a lot of retail volume over here. Whereas if you go to Ethereum, most of the stablecoin transfers are done at size, right? So a lot of the data seems to suggest that this is more DeFi related. And of course, our beloved Solana is in 5th place behind Arbitrum, yikes, and $3 billion worth of stablecoins. So we have a long way to go. What's also very interesting to note is that out of the top 5 chains for stablecoins, Solana is the only one that uses USDC as its primary stable. Ethereum has done the best job in offering a wide variety of stablecoins for their users to use. And in fact, many of these stablecoins are highly adopted. And Tron, lol, they've done the worst job. So if Tether goes down, Tron is definitely going down. Now, at this point in the talk, some of you might be thinking, but I was on the last Solana ecosystem call, and I heard that stablecoin transferred have 20x'd in the last 6 months. Okay, well, that's true. But I'm here to poop in the punch bowl. Don't get too excited. It is absolutely true that Solana is absolutely crushing it for daily transfer volume. It's more than 2x of what ETH is doing. But the key question here is, where the hell is that volume coming from, right? Well, it's coming from 2 sources. Almost all of it is coming from MEV and from Phoenix. So for MEV, what you're seeing is a bunch of bots spamming the chain, trying to take advantage of arbitrage opportunities, and each one of those transactions is counted as transaction volume. Phoenix is an order book, so market makers are using it to place bids and asks, and every single time they change the price, also that's counted as volume, right? So we shouldn't get too excited about where we are with Solana stablecoin transfer volume today, but that being said, this is a net positive for the ecosystem. It is a good thing that Bonk costs the same on Radium as it does on Orca, and it's due largely in part to this. Ethereum, on the other hand, much more even distribution. So Binance is number one, followed very closely by Aave, which is the primary lending and borrowing protocol. And it's really beautiful to see this, DeFi stablecoin movement at this size. I really hope we get to see this on Solana as well. And then you have, of course, Coinbase, Uniswap. Tron is, oh my God, the lion's share is on Binance, and the long tail is basically all centralized exchanges, which supports the narrative that Tron really is the network of choice for stablecoins, especially in emerging markets. So you can kind of think of the holy trinity right now as it exists as Tron, USDT on Binance. Okay, so we're going to wrap up this talk. It's about how to win. Just some random thoughts. So I think that we need to refocus on emerging markets. So there's 1.7 billion adults that are unbanked, and 16 out of the top 20 countries by crypto penetration are in emerging markets. Why is that? Well, we have some friends over at Reserve Protocol, and I love Reserve Protocol. Their motto is, stable currency is a human right. Just like water, just like housing, just like food, stable currency is a human right. And I actually absolutely believe this, and that also describes why so many people in emerging markets are flocking to crypto, because their local currency is, right? Also, with Solana, our builder base is very distributed. We actually have a very strong presence in emerging markets, but we were looking at the traffic for some of the top Solana websites, and only 31% of the traffic is coming from emerging markets. So again, I think we have a lot more work to do in this respect. However, I would like to congratulate Super Team. They are leading the charge in emerging markets, and I think we're going to continue to see some good results there. And in fact, if you go all around the world, you go to see Bitcoin ATMs or like OTC money exchanges, you see the Tether branding everywhere. Tether has done an amazing job localizing and getting the mind share, especially in emerging markets. And I think it's time for Solana to find a stablecoin partner that's going to do the same for them. And this just further proves my point that outside the United States, USDT dominates. All right, so let's talk about scalable stables, right? Another idea I think about how we can win. So is anybody here familiar with the stablecoin trilemma? All right, so the stablecoin trilemma is something that we use when we talk about stablecoin design. So the basic idea is that you can't optimize for every part of the triangle. There are always going to be trade-offs. So this is the most classic trade-off, which is scalability versus decentralization. So what are we talking about? Well, usually we're talking about the collateral. So like, let's take DAI from early days, right? So early days DAI, they only used Ethereum as collateral, right? So that collateral is extremely decentralized. Whereas like issuers like Tether and Circle, they use real world assets, but usually T-bills that are issued by the US government. So very much not decentralized collateral. But the thing is, if you only use crypto collateral for your stablecoin, like DAI, you can't scale it to hundreds of billions of dollars, right? There is a cap because of the amount of crypto that's available to collateralize your stablecoin. And furthermore, most models that use crypto have to over-collateralize, which means they're not very capital efficient. So I think that Solana needs to, there are upcoming stablecoins like, no offense to the Jupiter team, sorry Ben, but SUSD, YBX from MarginFi, there's USDE from Athena. There are LST-backed stablecoins, and these are going to be great products, especially products that generate yield. But no, they won't be able to scale meaningfully beyond 100 billion. And the last idea, I was going back and forth about whether or not I should take this out of the presentation because it's just such a crazy idea. But you know what? Why not, Tana? Should I go for it? I should go for it. OK. I think that we should go for trying to get a flat coin as legal tender in an emerging market country that doesn't have their own local currency. Does anyone here know the story of the Zimbabwean dollar? Yeah, right? Crazy story. So in 2008, after the financial crisis, the Zimbabwean dollar reached inflation in the sextillions, right? So they had to decommission the currency, so they just started using foreign currency. And then in 2018 or 19, they brought it back, right? But then COVID, so inflation again, and then they had to decommission the dollar, the Zimbabwean dollar. So now Zimbabwe uses the US dollar. And if you think about it, like, why would you why would you, as a non-US citizen, want to hold the US dollar? Yeah, it's the global reserve currency of the world. I totally understand this. But ideally, you would want a currency where the central bank of the United States is not affecting you as a human being via money printing. So that's the last idea I have for how do we win with Solana. So yeah, that's it from me. You could follow me on Eno if you want to. And if you want to join the Solana stablecoin cabal, like, join me. Let's get like a drink. Let's talk. And my co-founder Richard is here. Richard, thank you very much. Woo, he's wearing the hat. And also, these hats are free. Just go to the front, pick them up. They're good hats. All right, thanks everybody.